if you're a woman over 55 and you want to live healthy and you want to eat healthy, get the right physical activity, be in the best mental health, and grow old really healthily, you need to watch this, because there are some things that nobody tells you about that you need to know before you start making any changes. Because living a healthy life, implementing strategies for healthy living is bloody hard. And I'm going to tell you why. And I'm going to tell you from the perspective of my expertise. I'm a qualified nutritionist and a psychologist. And over the years, I have helped lots and lots of people change their lives to have healthier habits, whether that is work habits or habits in their private life. And as a nutritionist, which I didn't do all my life, I've been doing for the last 10 years or so, I've learned so much about what really is healthy eating. Now, all these things I'm going to share with you today is what I have learned myself, but I also know from the research. And going forward, when I make more videos about healthy living, it will all be stuff that, one, is based in science, and two, is stuff that I do myself on a daily basis. So, why is it so difficult to live healthy? To eat the right things, to get the right amount of physical exercise, to manage stress, to get a good night's sleep, just so that you can be in the best health possible. Well, there's two parts to it. One is it's difficult to know what to do, and the other part is it's difficult to know how to make the changes. And I'm going to tackle them both for you in this video. So first of all, let's talk about why is it so difficult. And as my focus is on, as a nutritionist, on healthy eating, but that includes movement and physical activity. So that kind of gets into it as well. So when we think about healthy eating, here's what is really challenging. First of all, you and I grew up at a time when convenience food came in. Before that, generations of people had cooked from scratch. They would get fresh ingredients, whether that was from the greengrocers, or they would grow stuff in the garden, or they would they would go to people who had animals and they slaughtered it, and they went to the butchers, and the butchers knew where their meat came from. It was all very localized, but it also was all whole food. That's definitely what I remember from my mum when we were cooking. We didn't have a lot of convenience foods when I was little, but as I got older, and I'm in my early 60s now, I was born in the 60s, more and more what you could buy in the supermarkets was aimed at making dinners and foods easier. We didn't buy bread from the supermarket when I was little, but over time that became the norm. And so now we are in a situation where we're so used to using convenience food to feed ourselves that we've forgotten what we are actually eating, or we don't think about what we're actually eating. The other thing that happened is sort of in the same time, and that's no coincidence. We all started to put on more weight as a people, and we started to focus on dieting. So all of a sudden, when it came to looking for ways, when it came to food and activity to improve your health, it was all about losing weight, about going on diets. And even the diets became based on convenience food. You can go to the supermarket or to the chemist or the pharmacy, and you can buy shakes that will help you lose weight. But they're all purely chemical and really do your health more harm than the weight loss might do you good, if that is even a sustainable option. But so we had the convenience food, and we had the focus on, every time we talked about healthy eating or healthy physical activity, it was about dieting, losing weight. That became this big theme, and we're still in that place. When I talk to people about, a healthy diet, they immediately say, oh, I don't need to lose weight, or it's that association that we make with that. So before I continue, I have to go back to how I ended up being so interested in healthy living, and in particular nutrition. My family is naturally slim. It's a genetic thing. And as I grew up, I could never put on weight. Everybody always told me I was underweight. And I even got asked regularly if I had an eating disorder, which I thought was rather rude. But I didn't. I ate, but I easily lost weight. If I'm stressed, I stop eating. And then leading up to the year 2000, I've been going to the gym a lot. I kind of got a little bit addicted to going to the gym, so I worked out every day. And I thought I ate healthy, but I found eating very difficult. I found it always difficult to finish what I had on my plate. I hate cooking, and that will be a theme going forward with these videos about healthy living. I hate cooking, especially cooking for myself, but I thought I was eating a healthy diet, and I was doing lots of working out, so I thought I was a very healthy person, but I was losing weight, even though I was putting on muscle, and muscle is heavier than fat. So I was supposed to actually, according to the scale, put on weight. But I knew I was losing weight, and when I fall under a certain body weight, I get sick. So I get severe backaches, I get every cold and flu that comes around, I'm intensely fatigued, and so I know when I'm going in the wrong direction. So I came across someone who was running a health program, and to be taken into the program, I had to submit a sort of a diet overview, a diet diary, and how much exercise I did. And you know what? I was convinced that she would turn around and say, I'm sorry, I just don't know how I can help you because you're doing everything right. So I was hugely surprised when she came back and said, oh yes, I can absolutely help you. That was a bit of a shock to the ego. So anyway, I did the program, and I'm so glad I did, because I learned things about food, about my body and how it responded to food, exercise, my body and exercise. And this was well before we had lots and lots of information on Google, right? I'm not even sure we had Google. Well, probably did, but it was not what it is today. So I hadn't even researched it much, but I learned so much about what to eat. And what was interesting was that I realized that how I'd been eating and how I needed to eat, it made eating for me suddenly a very pleasant experience, and I found it much easier to eat than I did before. So that got me really interested in nutrition. And a few years later, when I was a bit burnt out with my corporate career, had a bit of a midlife crisis, I decided to study nutritional medicine, which I did. And for the past 10 years, I have, besides being a psychologist, also been a nutritionist. But since that program in 2000, I have been eating and doing physical activity based on what I learned then. Now backed up by what I know from the research about eating and food and physical activity. And so that's kind of how I got to where I am today. And in preparation for this video, I thought, you know what? I'm going to Google healthy diet for seniors. Apparently, because I'm over 60, I'm officially a senior. Facebook ads tell me I'm a senior. So I thought, let me have a look at it. And I was interested to see what the results were. First of all, they're all very generic. They tell you to eat lots of fruits and vegetables. They tell you to eat lots of healthy proteins. They tell you to eat a low-fat diet. And I don't understand why that is still a thing, but I'm going to make a video about the danger of low-fat eating. And what was interesting was that it was exactly the same for all ages. It didn't distinguish, even though I specifically asked for seniors, there wasn't really a lot of difference in what apparently as you get older you need to eat, as opposed to somebody who's in their 20s or in their 30s or in their 40s. Now, I don't know about you, I know my body is very different from definitely before menopause, right? But even throughout menopause, I know that what my body needs and what it's capable of doing, especially when it gets to physical activity, it's different. Ooh, sorry, it's different from what it used to be. So doesn't that mean that your diet and your physical activity and the way you manage your mental health and all those things need to change, need to adjust? So I found that really really interesting. And then I looked up, Googled healthy aging. Well, just for the fun of it, can I suggest you go to YouTube and put in healthy aging? There's some weird people come up who seem to be going through just about anything, any weird thing, to stop the aging process. One person in particular, and I know he's Australian, Brian Johnson, I think he's called, and he's putting his body through so many weird things. Yes, I think he's in his 70s, late 70s, but he looks like he's in his 40s. But one, no, you and I don't have the money for any of those. But two, I don't mind looking, older. I'm happy to be grey. I like getting older. I just want to be older and be feeling great and being able to do lots of things. I don't need to look like I'm still in my 40s. The other thing that comes up when you do research like that is the guidelines that come up are, every government puts out healthy eating guidelines, and guidelines for physical activity, but they keep changing. So you may found the guidelines, and they're often pie charts or the pyramids or whatever model they use, about what you need to eat and how much of different categories of food, how much physical activity you need in terms of getting your heart rate up, whatever they come up with. Over time, those guidelines change. So if you found one of those guidelines 10 years ago and you started following them, I promise you, if you go look again, it will have changed. Because research is finding out more and more about how our bodies function and how our bodies react to different things, but also because the world we live in changes. And I always say, we live in a dirty world, and that has an impact on our bodies and our food and our physical activity, and needs to kind of support our bodies through that. Again, something for a future video. But what's very important is, as we get older, our specific nutrient requirements change. So what we need in terms of nutrients changes. Our metabolism changes. If you've been through menopause, you know that you just don't burn calories as fast as you used to. And part of that has to do with our hormonal changes, but it also has to do with thyroid. Again, a future video coming up. And we start to have some health issues. No matter how healthy you live, your body is getting older, and things that you were able to do in your 40s, you may not be able to do anymore now that you're in your late 50s or in your 60s or in your 70s and going forward. I'm just going to switch the page. I made notes. I want to make sure that I tell you everything that I think is important. So that is why it's so difficult to know what to do. It's confusing out there to know what to eat, what to do in terms of physical activity, and how to adjust that to what you can and cannot do. But the second part about this, and now we're switching to my psychology background, is how you change your habits, how you change your diet, how you change your routines is tough. Now, you might know these people around. You might have people like this in your life who seem to be able to just make a decision about, I'm going to, I don't know, get fit and I'm going to jog. And they just seem to be able to just do it. And all of a sudden they jog all the time, and then when you hear about them later, they've started to do half marathons, and right. And if you've been thinking, looking at what they achieve, that one, you could never do anything like that, and two, it's because it's just their personality, or it's just who they are, that they have something like, they have the kind of willpower that you don't have, or the discipline that you don't have, or the motivation that you don't have. I want you to, every time you think that, tell yourself, stop, that's rubbish. Because all they have that you at the moment may not have is strategies. They have strategies to get started, they have strategies to keep going, and they have strategies to get back on the wagon when they fall off. So they have strategies for dealing with the tough moments. And here's the good news. You can learn these strategies. People often look at me when I on the whole, eat well, do lots of decent amount of physical activity. And a lot of people around me look at me and go, oh yeah. And they often even say it sometimes, well, it's easy for you. And I go, it's not. It's a daily, I wouldn't say struggle. Some days it's a struggle, but it is still hard work. But I know what will trip me up. I will know what stands in my way, and I have strategies to deal with that. So it's hard to live a healthy life. And I'm sorry, but I want to make it real for you. It's hard, but it is possible. And so I'm going to share what I know with you about healthy eating, healthy physical activity as it relates to how the body functions. I'm not an expert on physical activity, so that will have more my own personal experience and my understanding how the body functions, and how to make changes that you can stick to. So, because here's my philosophy about making changes, by the way. If you can't stick to it, if you decide to change your diet and you can't stick to it, then it's worthless putting the effort into it. It's wasted effort, because all you get out of it is usually, if you can't stick with it, is a sense of failure, which makes the next time you try harder, because you've got all those senses of failure in the back of your head. So I'm going to share with you lots of videos, and the majority of videos will be about food, about what to eat, what not to eat, why you should eat what I suggest you eat, why you should stop eating what I suggest you stop eating, handy tips on how to have healthy meals all the time, even if, like me, you hate cooking, or you find it hard to cook for yourself, or whatever reason is difficult to eat healthy. And so I'm going to share those with you, plus a lot of plus videos around how to do that so that you can stick to it. So those videos are coming once a week, and they will be published on a Thursday. It's my time in Eastern Australia. So for you, that might be on a Wednesday. Now, if this is something that you're really keen on finding out more about, and if you want to have your own personal nutritionist and psychologist on tap, subscribe so that every time you have I have a new video, you'll be notified. It doesn't cost anything. It doesn't give me your email address or any details about you, so no need to worry about that. And it also will help me grow my channel, which would be very helpful for all of us, because then YouTube sends it out to more people and more people can benefit from these videos. So I'm really looking forward to sharing that with you. Now, my videos about the tiny house are still coming out every Sunday, so that's not going to stop, but I'm going to add the Thursday videos to it. Now, if you want to support me or my channel, I have set up a Ko-fi account, so you can just buy me a cup of coffee, because you know, if you think that this is worth supporting a little bit, you don't have to. The videos will come out, but I'm going to put a little bit of extra time and effort into this, so every little thing helps. Hopefully you can tell already, I am absolutely passionate about this, and the videos are coming. So that's it to kick off this new set of videos, and I hope we'll spend a lot of time together in the future. Bye.